This Motorcycle Memories video is brought to you by BMW, Motorcycle Owners of America.
See if Chad's Gatorade bottle hangs with us the whole day. Place your bets.
Come join me and some friends as I try to attempt to ride all 10 BDRs in less than a year. This is going to be an adventure.
Where I go, everywhere I roam, a heart full of memories takes me home. From sweet home Alabama, along the Mississippi River to the Ohio. From the Oklahoma prairies to the Kentucky cornfields in a row. When life is too fast, you gotta take it slow on the road. Because my heart is made of memories, memories of the road. My heart is made of memories, all the people who come and go. Everywhere I go, everywhere I roam, a heart full of memories takes me home. From the Colorado mountains to the hills of Tennessee, I'm singing, take me home, country roads. When life is too fast, you gotta take it slow. Because my heart is made of memories, memories of the road. My heart is made of memories, all the people who come and go. Everywhere I go, everywhere I roam, a heart full of memories takes me home.
A few years ago, I had the crazy idea of riding all the BDRs within a single month. Granted, there was only 7 at the time, but it was still an ambitious adventure. But because of this excuse and that excuse, the ride just never happened. Doing something epic on the BDR with friends had never left my mind. But what really gave me a kick in the ass and a dose of reality to do all 10 BDRs was the fact that I had lost 3 high school friends and an old fiancé to cancer within a year. And I said to myself, Chad, if not now, when? And that was it. Yes, it is. I started reaching out to friends and connecting with other fellow riders through social media and started making my plans to complete all 10 BDRs within a year, with a goal of riding as close to 100% of the designated routes as possible. I had connected with my buddy Tom Asher in Texas and convinced him that he had to come out to Yuma, Arizona and ride the California BDR with me, at least some portions of it. But before heading out onto the BDR, I had to throw on some new Moto Z tires at one of the local shops that was recommended to me. Hey, what's up everybody? I am in Yuma getting ready for the BDR, and I've got some Moto Z Rally Z's coming in. Had them drop shipped at the shop here. The bike, there she is. She's getting her new shoes put on. Looking forward to it. 2 more days. I gotta give a shout out to our Biker Bunker host, Randy, and his wife, Jody. That's Randy right behind me. They were just awesome. Thank you, Randy. Well, it was time to sit down and figure out where we were going on the California BDR, and everybody had an opinion, whether it was right or wrong. Well, I was packed up and ready in the morning to start my BDR adventure. But first, a stop at Cafe Cieto? Something like that. It's right at the beginning of the California BDR on Section 1, and it's a great place to stop before you begin your BDR adventure. One of the people that I had connected with about riding the California BDR was Rick Hoffman. I have a huge amount of respect for Rick because even with the disability of his clutch hand, he was out there in the toughest parts of Section 1 with temperatures in the mid to upper 90s and deep, deep sand. It made for a brutal ride. Rick eventually had to turn around and head back to the beginning, but not before we saw some really spectacular sights along the Colorado River. This whole trip was about making new motorcycle memories with friends. Let me introduce you to my buddy.
My name is Tom Asher, and I'm originally from Johnstown, Ohio, and I'm riding a 2017 R1200 GSA. My first memory of riding was, that was a long time ago. I was probably 12 years old, and my dad brought me home a Gemini dirt bike with a little Tecumseh motor in it, and it had a belt drive. It's hard to remember, but I think I was around 12 years old. Well, at that age, that was, pretty exciting for me. So I was pretty hooked right off the bat at that age, and I think I loved motorcycles ever since. I got out of motorcycles for quite a while, and I didn't start back into motorcycles till I was out of high school and in my 20s. I had some buddies that had, what got me back in was I had some friends that were into dirt bikes, and we all kind of hung out, and they talked me into getting a dirt bike. So I went with them, and I was hooked again. This time I was in my 20s. I thought my friends, of course, were the best riders in the world. So I was getting really excited about it, and I thought, well, I'll just try racing, and if I try real hard, I could probably win a race, because my friends, they're the best. And then my first race came about, and I got next to last. And the only reason I got next to last is because the guy that got last got lost.
It's really pretty, but it's not the trail.
Not the trail.
I learned real quick that my friends weren't the best. I had my work cut out for me.
Now, speaking of having your work cut out for you, I was about to get a lesson on just how quickly the BDR can bite you. Just an FYI, neutral is not a gear that helps with your forward momentum. Of course, the thing that made the whole situation worse was the fact that Tom and I weren't even on the BDR route. We had missed the turnoff. Now, you always hear, you can't tell a steep angle in videos, but in this one, you almost can tell how steep it is, especially with Tom going up the hill. He even had a little hard time. Made me feel a little bit better about dropping my bike, especially since Tom represented the United States in BMW's GS Trophy a few years ago.
So yeah, I saw that BMW was looking for, they took the top rider of each competition, and you got to represent the United States in an overseas international competition for BMW. We went to Thailand. Yeah, all those years of racing, I just got beat up. But I do one competition, and I win this awesome trip to be able to compete. So I guess it all worked out in the end. Really exciting to do that. I'm glad I was able to be a part of it.
By now, Tom and I were truly in the heart of the Mojave Desert. There wasn't much around us except lots and lots of soft sand. Only thing to do, lean back, twist the throttle, and try to stay up on top of that sand. Tom and I would do about 45 to 55 out here. Temperatures were reaching close to 100 degrees. It's definitely not an area that you want to get hurt in. It's so remote. Gotta watch the dips.
Yeah, I've been going slow because I don't want this thing to break on me.
I hit a few, I was like, whoa. Alright, I'll follow you.
Alright, so I'm just taking it easy.
Good deal.
Kind of biking tag.
Well, that's what my thing says. Remember, dummy, you have to ride this home. That's right, dummy. You've got 78 more days before you're supposed to be back home. So don't do anything stupid. Of course, that's easier said than done. So I asked Tom for advice on what riders can expect on the BDR.
Well, I'd want to make sure that they had a lot of experience and were confident in themselves and you should really be prepared and talk to other people that's done it to help you out. I would highly suggest to not pack real heavy, to keep the bike really light, have a way to contact somebody in case of emergency would be real important. And of course, you got to stay hydrated through the entire thing. Carry a lot of water, but you really need to look at the sections, talk to people who's done it, and try to prepare yourself as best you can, and expect the worst.
Exactly. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Remember what I said about neutral not being good for forward momentum? Day one, and I was already stacking up my get-offs. I promise you, there'd be a lot more on this BDR adventure. Tom had already raced ahead, so it was up to me to pick up this big, loaded down GSA in the soft sand. It's not a secret that these bikes are heavy, right? Well, I had my work cut out for me to catch up with Tom. By the way, did you pick up earlier when he said he was taking it easy? We're doing 45 to 55 miles an hour on soft sand. He's such an incredible rider.
Wow. It's a long road.
Fucking A, desert right here. Don't break down, don't get hurt.
Yeah.
There's no shade.
Long walk out.
Look on your map on 15.
Another thing you don't want to happen is getting lost in the desert. Luckily, I had the BDR map with me, and we would be just fine. Maybe.
Oh, look at that. Holy shit, I thought it ended right here.
So we're right around Skeleton Pass. Yep. And we go to Essex 666 and High Sierra Oasis.
Yeah, that's where the boards are supposed to be.
Cool.
Well, Tom and I made it to Section 3, and it felt like a reward after going through the deep sand in Section 1 and the Mojave Desert in Section 2. This scenery was just spectacular. If you're planning a California BDR trip and you want to avoid lots of sand, then start off in Section 3. I was loving this section. Now there is a little bit of sand at the end of Section 3, but overall it was an incredible day of riding. One of the experiences I enjoyed most on Section 3 was riding through the Joshua trees. But be sure you don't rub up against one of them as you're riding by, because those are not little pine needles, they're very sharp thorns.
Thank God for Black Dog skid plate.
I'd be up for another BDR for certain. I mean, they're a lot of fun. You get to see, you go places that you haven't been before, see things you haven't seen. I mean, it's an adventure, and that's what it's all about.
Tom and I would end this incredible day of riding in the small gambling town of Primm, Nevada.
Not quite on the trail. We need to be over there about 15 feet.
Oh, well, you know, that's the easy section.
Well, it was a new day and a new section, and it looked like we were back in the desert. If you leave Primm and you head north on Section 4, you've got one hell of a climb ahead of you. By the time I got to the top of this hill, my forearms were burning. After that hill and the power line road that was nothing but rocks, it was time for some jet skiing. That's right, jet skiing. Tom's taking a souvenir back home with him. Feel it? Well, after our desert jet skiing, we were heading into Death Valley, which would become the hottest day of riding through my entire BDR journey. 112 degrees! Woohoo! Holy shit!
All right, new record, 113 degrees, Death Valley. It's on May 12th. The faster you ride, the hotter you get. It's kind of weird.
I think I just want to encourage people to get out there and try new things. And even if you maybe have a bad day or get discouraged or maybe it didn't work out that well, that's experience, and that's more opportunity that you're going to have. And it's not sitting at home not doing anything. It's going out and having an adventure. So even in your possible failure, that's still doing it. It's still getting out there doing it. And the next time it's going to even be better. And the next time after that, it's going to even get better. So don't give up and get out there and do things. That would be my advice.
Well, I think that's great advice, Tom. And just as we were entering Titus Canyon, we bumped into two fellow riders, John and Aaron from Sacramento. Luckily for me, because Tom was heading home right after Titus Canyon. A new adventure was beginning.
I mean, cool. Yeah, what a view, right?
For John and Aaron, this would be their first time down Lippincott Pass. It was only my second time, but the views were just as spectacular as I remember my first time. And Lippincott was just as challenging as I remember. Just as you're coming off Lippincott, there's this really great long stretch that allows you to open up the throttle a little bit, but you gotta watch for those buried rocks. Well, after an incredible day of riding through Death Valley, John, Aaron, and I rode into Lone Pine. Great little town. Unfortunately, by the next morning, John was absolutely under the weather and had been doing Pepto-Bismol shots all night. To John's credit, he got himself up and back on the BDR. Our goal for the day would be to head into Bishop. All day we had spectacular views along the Sierra mountain range. But when the route started getting really difficult, it was really wearing down on John. And so John and Aaron decided to head off to Bishop and meet me there later in the day. By this time, we had already passed the turnoff for the more difficult route, which indicated that it was steep, rocky, and up hills. So the rest of the day was going to be easy. Or so I thought.
Woo! Good place for a break. Yeah, did you notice? I'm by myself in this section. Aaron and John is under the weather big time today. And I had to leave him way back. They were going really slow. They said, hey, just keep going, we'll catch up. So I'm getting this section done by myself. Whew. All right, time to pick this big girl up. Oh, she's halfway up herself. It's gonna be tough. We're at an incline here and lots of rocks. So see if I can't get some speed to get up there. Hi. This is the easier section than the hard one that went up into the mountains, but there are a lot of rocks in this section, and then soft sand. So you got soft sand, rocks, soft sand, rocks. So I haven't been able to get it out of second gear. That's about it. Start building speed, and then there's a section of rocks that you have to get through. So that's a little challenging. I can see why they only have 91 miles for this section. Kind of like setting an expectation. Just do 91 miles because it's slow going. It is slow going. The views are beautiful, but it is slow going. Woo! Look at all these rocks. That's a nice section right there. Just below it. Oh my god. So, anyways, onward.
Once I got to Big Pine, I decided to jump back on the more difficult route, and this would take me through Roberts Ridge, which would quickly become another one of my favorite California BDR sections. I couldn't believe that this was considered the difficult section. I thought to myself, there must be something ahead, because this area was just gorgeous to ride in. Another thing that made this section so special and fun to ride were all these little water crossings that you'd find along the route. And since it was in the 90s, those water crossings were a great way to just cool off. All these little water crossings were so much fun, and they all look pretty much the same. But looks can be deceiving.
Found mud. Found mud. It's mud. Oh shit. It's not a rock bottom like the others.
Once I finished with my mud bath, I rode up to the highest point in this section, the Papoose Flats. And the view, well, the view was, what can I say?
Shit.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Holy shit is a good way to describe the spectacular views from the top, overlooking the entire valley and the Sierra Mountains. Absolutely incredible. The descent through Silver Canyon into Bishop is absolutely the most difficult part of this section. And if you're traveling from north to south, you've got one hell of an incline. Well, the boys and I were up early to finish the last section of the California BDR. This was section 8, and we only had 40 miles until the end. One of the highlights on today's short ride was the Shadago Canyon. It's almost like a mini-me of the Titus Canyon. I have to give a shout out to Randy, Jody, Rick, George, Tom, Aaron, and John for making my California BDR adventure incredible. Thank you all. 1 BDR down, 9 to go. Next up, Nevada.
Memories of the road.